ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to make cinnamon roll apple pie. It is a really easy recipe and it comes from the Tasty app. All you need are 2 cans of cinnamon rolls, some cornstarch, cinnamon, and 5 Granny Smith apples. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is peel your apples. Now, the easiest and safest way, since this video is made for kids, is to use a potato peeler. And you can either spin it around your apple like this and see if you can get one continuous thread, or you can go down like you would peel a potato, whichever one is easiest for you. So I'm gonna get this peeled real quick, and then we will talk about how to slice an apple, because when you are making an apple pie, you have to cut the core out. The core is where the seeds are. So the easiest way to do that, anybody know, is if you have, oh, I got one more spot. If you have one of these. These are fantastic. You just put it on top of the apple like this, press down, oh, sorry, party foul, and pull the apples out. Now, we ended up with some big chunks, so we are going to get out a knife and slice them thinner. Remember, if you are under the age of 12 and using a knife, make sure you have your parents right there with you. So let me grab a knife real quick because I forgot. And you want your apple slices not to be too thin, but about this thick. And some of them are a little bigger. If you do really thick chunks of apple, it will take longer to cook. So I'm just tossing all my slices into the bowl. And once I have all the apples peeled and chopped, we will add in the rest of the ingredients. This pie takes no more than 15 minutes to prep, and then you just throw it in the oven. It's a really easy pie to start with. Okay everyone, the apples are sliced. We are now going to add in half a cup of sugar, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and then to make the pie nice and thick, we are going to add, or I should say the pie filling nice and thick, we're going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch. And just like flour, when you scoop cornstarch, please remember to make it nice and level. Sprinkle it over, and then you're just going to gently stir all the ingredients together. You stir it too fast, you're gonna end up with sugar and cornstarch everywhere. So gently, I'm using a rubber spatula. I'm just kind of stirring everything together. And you want to make sure it's all nicely coated. Once you have it all stirred up, you're going to put it aside and get the cinnamon rolls. So I have here, let me move the rest of my ingredients out of the way. This is called a baking mat. If you don't have a baking mat, that's okay. You can also use a piece of wax paper. You are going to want to sprinkle some flour on it, not a lot, and spread it around. And then we're going to get the cinnamon rolls, and we're gonna cut them in half, and we're gonna roll them out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you all know my favorite part of opening one of these cans. If I can find the start, here it is. You watched my caramel apple pie bombs. This is my whole favorite thing. I love breaking that open. Now you are going to want to pull the icing out and set the icing aside. And then you're going to want to get the cinnamon rolls out. Now this one kind of unrolled, that's okay. We're gonna pull one apart, and the directions are to cut the cinnamon roll in half. Unfortunately, these are really tiny cinnamon rolls, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm gonna put it on my floured baking mat, flip it over. I'm gonna get my rolling pin and I'm going to gently roll it out so it is flat. Let me put a little bit of flour on my rolling pin. So I'm gonna roll it out. Want it fairly thin. All right, so it's just like this. I'm gonna put it in the center of my pie plates. I'm gonna get a little more flour, rub it around, put a little on my rolling pin, put the next one down, roll it so it's nice and flat. Now, if I had been using bigger cinnamon rolls, like Pillsbury, I think they have jumbo ones, I would have cut the cinnamon rolls in half. Because these are so small, we're just rolling them in half. Then you want to layer it on top of the other cinnamon roll and push it flat. So it's gonna look like that. All right? I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest, and then we'll put the apple pie filling inside. Our crust is done. This is what it looks like. I've pieced all the cinnamon rolls together. Now it is time to pour in the apple filling. It's had a few minutes to set up. It's made some nice juices. And make sure we get all of it in. Then you're gonna just take your spatula and push the apples around. Just one fell out. Kind of just wanna level it out. Now, to make the topping, just as we did before, we are taking a cinnamon roll and a little bit of flour, sprinkle it on, roll it around, dip both sides, take your rolling pin, roll it out nice and thin, and you're going to put it right on top of the apples. And yes, it's gonna be kind of bumpy and lumpy, and that's okay. Take your second cinnamon roll, flatten it out a little bit, add some more flour, roll it back and forth to get a nice flat round cinnamon roll, and then you're gonna put it right next to it on top. You're gonna keep it all connected until we have covered the entire pie plate. Okay, so this is what the top looks like. We have all the cinnamon rolls flattened and everything is pressed tightly together. I am now going to cover the pie with foil. Make sure it's nice and tight, tucked all the way under. I am actually going to also put the pie on a baking sheet because the juices in the pie, sometimes they bubble over, and I don't want that leaking on the bottom of my oven. It's gonna bake at 350 degrees for 35 minutes, and I'll see you then. Our pie is done. Oops, the juices just leaked out. I tipped it too much. But I'm gonna let it cool for about 30 minutes, and then the little icing tube, I'll cut a hole in it and drizzle the icing on top. And tomorrow morning we'll be having this for breakfast because it's almost 11 o'clock at night. If it was earlier in the evening, I'd be serving it with ice cream. So let me know if you make it, let me know if you like it, and I'll see you next week. I think we'll make a raspberry pie.